but they score a lot of points from their defensive transition, and then the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State University are very proficient and very fluid on offense.
We had a small light delay. Georgia Amore probably shot lights out in that first game, but now we're in game 2. We are now underway. Officials Kyle Bacon, Alicia Murray, as well as Zach Grost on the call for today. Trojans start off with the ball. Another player that you're going to keep your eyes out on is Destiny Littleton. She won the title with the Gamecocks last season and automatically out the gate an and one for Rhea Marshall.
Wow, and that's what you're going to see from USC. Long and athletic. Everybody wants to over the back, but she did not touch her. Just a tremendous rebound and an opportunity for an and one.
The only Pac-12 player to average a double-double this season. And if she continues in that, she could be their first since Lisa Leslie. They get the O board off the missed free throw. Great box out underneath. And that's sent up the floor by Myah Selland. And here's your tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Capital One. You see it for the Jackrabbits. Another player that we didn't mention is Tori Nelson, who has been outstanding for the Jackrabbits as well, who are unbelievable when you're talking about how they're coming into this tournament with just so much fire and force offensively. Went 18-0 in the Summit League, got the title there, but also on a 21-game winning streak. Their last loss was December 15th against the Gamecocks. So out of the gate, Helen, a couple of O boards for the Trojans.
And South Dakota, they can run. They don't need to slow the basketball down. They're very proficient at primary and secondary break, and you'll see that throughout this entire game. They're going to have to do a better job, though, obviously, of boxing out Southern California.
Already, the total rebounds 4-1 in the Trojans' favor, as Myah Selland was able to put the ball on the floor and advance it. Also was able to draw the foul against Adika. Selland held up. 8 on the shot clock. Selland gets it back. Fade away. Rolls around. No good. And the rebound goes down to Rhea Marshall. And starting lineups brought to you by Capital One for USC. Kayla Williams, Destiny Littleton, and Rhea Marshall. Vaco as well. I mean, out of the gate, Rhea Marshall is just the human eraser.
She's such a skilled player, and she's nowhere near where her potential is going to be. Just a young player, just still figuring things out, but just a tremendous athlete.
One of 3 players on this roster averaging double figures. On the other side, South Dakota State still looking for their first bucket. As we're about 2 minutes into this ball game, they have 4 players that are averaging double figures coming into this ball game. Nice look on the other side.
And USC, you can see individually those matchups are an advantage for USC.
That's an offensive foul going against Paige Meyer. And Lindsay Gottlieb in her second season at USC. Winning is what she does. This is the 3rd team that she's been able to take to the NCAA tournament. UC Santa Barbara, Cal, where she went to a Final Four with that team, as well as USC now. And this is the first time they've been back to the tournament since 2014. Last season, her squad went 5-12 in conference and much improved in this season. That's going to go off the foot of Sissoko.
And just a better job of team defense there by South Dakota State. That's how they need to play USC. If it's an individual matchup, they're going to struggle with that. But the team defense is really what they're good at.
Kayla Williams, just a gnat all over the ball. As we go to the other side for Aaron Johnston, who is in his 23rd season. And my goodness, 7-time Summit League Coach of the Year, 20 seasons with 20 or more wins.
He's built a tremendous culture there that a lot of kids, certainly from South Dakota, want to be a part of.
That one rims out.
Well, South Dakota State only getting one opportunity. And not a bad idea, but definitely Littleton just needed better execution there.
Also a dead ball turnover.
And that allows them to get back and set up their defense.
Drew Gilton bringing the ball up the floor for the Jackrabbits. Beautiful dish pass, but not against Rhea Marshall.
Well, she has, I don't know what she had to eat today, but she made up her mind that she was going to be a factor. Just a beautiful block here. On both ends of the floor, she has been huge for USC.
164 career blocks. Shooting against her probably isn't the best idea. Myah Selland trying to work her way on the inside. Beautiful look over the left shoulder.
And here's the thing about South Dakota State. They're not going to get wild. They'll continue and be patient and get themselves together. They're very familiar with playing against power conferences. So they're not going to fold early here in this game.
Started off the game 0-4 for the Jackrabbits. Now they're 1-7. And the response from Caleb Williams from distance. That's number 2.
Did you not just say it's not a good idea to shoot against her?
It was just a thought. It was just, my personal thought. Jackrabbits trying to advance and just grazes the fingertips of Tori Nelson. So that's going to be the second turnover for the Jackrabbits. We talked about the stingy defense for USC, and numbers never lie.
Yeah, they have hung their hat on the defense. That's really when you take over a program and you have a lot of transfers, the defense is the easiest thing that you can get chemistry with. Offense always takes a lot longer, and that's what they decided to hang their hat on early in the season.
At 54.8, as far as their scoring defense, they are on track to have the best scoring defense in program history. Prior was 58.8. See how they'll close the season. Littleton bounces around and gets that one to fall for her first bucket.
She's so good coming off those screens on the ball. A rhythm shooter. You let her get a couple dribbles and get that rhythm. She's deadly.
Selland guarded by Sissoko. And she'll draw the foul there.
Selland, one of those players, is just a complete player. She can play from the perimeter. She can post up and give South Dakota State a lot of options on offense.
Rhea Marshall comes out of the ball game. Off the bounce. No good by Timmer. So that will go back to the Trojans, who right now are sitting pretty offensively, have a 7-point lead. Seasons trying to see if he can get an NCAA title to add to that as well. Just being in his practices, just being in his shoot around, you can tell he's such a teacher to this program.
What I'm most impressed, though, is that I didn't see any gray hairs then or now.
You know what, Helen? Another thing that really stood out to me is that every player on that team had the same color shoes.
There you go, see? That's my thing. Everybody should have the same color shoes on. I'm old school.
That was 20 years ago.
As you see Destiny Littleton, nice old school three-point shot there.
Old school, new school. She can get it done.
South Dakota State just needs to settle down, and they're going to be fine. They're getting sped up. They can play fast, but they've got to play under control, and USC did a great job those first 5 minutes of making them play out of control.
Myah Selland can't connect. Got where she wanted, 2 feet in the paint. She's got a couple of nice touches on the inside. Another turnover for the Trojans. That's their 4th. Sends it up the court and just mishandles the ball. So the Trojans will get it back.
But a good sign, obviously, you're able to get them to turn the ball over twice and have opportunity to score.
A couple of new substitutions for the Jackrabbits. Paige Myah as well as Tori Nelson check into the ball game. Paige Myah averaging 10 points per game. Tori Nelson right there at 8. You talked about it, just when you sub in different players for the Jackrabbits, there's not a lot of drop-off.
No, it's the same look in terms of principles offensively and defensively.
It was almost brought down by Kia Doumbia. Sissoko gets the ball back and can't get that one to fall. You mentioned it, just how the Trojans so far have been able to really clean the glass. They already have 4 offensive boards, haven't been able to convert. And 1 for Paige Myah. Checks in a bucket as well.
Well, just a tough kid, like I said. They were going to settle down, and see here, a little crossover. They are very competitive. They're not afraid to play power schools, and I think they just needed a breather there. That timeout, that 5-minute timeout was really good for them to just settle down and get reset.
Sometimes you just have to really fill out the game. Earlier today, the coach was talking about we just have to get downhill. Where are your eyes at the rim? And we've seen that the last 2 plays.
And see, here's where USC struggles. When you have them set up their half-court offense, they really struggle. Their offense is predicated on their defense, getting turnovers, defensive rebounds, and turning that into transition offense. They really struggle in the half-court set on offense.
Doumbia checks out of the ball game. Kayla Williams checks back in, going back to the offense for the Trojans, even though they are known for their defense. That's how Lindsay Gottlieb said they have to find success in this season. They're at the bottom 10% of the field for field goal percentage. That means 68 teams, they're 66th. As we see the jump ball, the possession is going to stay with the Jackrabbits.
And the rebounding for the Jackrabbits is so key to their success. They have out-rebounded in those 21 wins. They've out-rebounded their opponent.
For the Jackrabbits, who winning is just what they've been able to do in the last few games, they have a scoring margin of 19. Tyson able to draw the foul. She'll get 2.
They're just really good at posting up more than one player. They make great cuts, and if they don't get the basketball, they do a great job of stopping at the block and posting up.
Haley Timmer checks back into the ball game for Madison Mathewitz.
South Dakota State, their guards are big kids. All of them are big kids.
The NCAA Women's Championship continues tonight with first-round games and continues through Sunday, April 2nd, when we crown a champion. Every game is on the ESPN family of networks. For more information, go to NCAA.com. Your home for all 90 NCAA championships. So Kaylee Tyson was able to knock that one down. She's the 2023 Summit League 6th Woman of the Year.
And you see USC going in a little drought here, scoring offensively. Again, downhill. And that's exactly what they talked about, you said, in shooting practice. Get downhill and force them to make decisions.
So Kayla Williams checked back into the ball game. Was taken out because of the foul, and now she checks back out because now she has 2 fouls. So Allison Mira checks into the ball game.
And that's the second time that Paige Myah has been able to get to the basket and get an opportunity at the free throw line. They also, in their wins, shoot more free throws than their opponent. So rebounding, shooting free throws, those are huge for them in their wins.
Paige Myah has 4 consecutive games in double figures. She drains that one. And it's just good to see her back on the floor as she checks out of the ball game. Last year she had a knee injury that she was working her way back from. She missed all of the non-conference schedule. But a player that they love to have on the floor. She started every game as a freshman.
And see, now this is South Dakota's pace. Team defense, make them take a bad shot, get an opportunity in transition, primary or secondary break.
A lot of contact underneath. Littleton surveying the lane, tries to shoot it up to Sissoko. And that's just lost out of bounds.
See, USC's throwing the ball up to their players because they can catch it above the defenders, but South Dakota State's doing a really good job of just holding their ground and not allowing Southern Cal to penetrate to the basket, making them jump and shoot over them, and they're not very proficient at that right now.
Adika checks back into the ball game for the Trojans. Right now, the Jackrabbits on a 7-0 run. Baseline action, sends it back out to Nelson. Nelson, one too many steps. And both teams really struggling with some turnovers. You talked about the pace at this point in the ballgame. We knew that we were going to see a lot of up and down, but really settling in for this pace. Whose favor does that play into?
Right now, it's favoring South Dakota State because they are forcing turnovers, playing a good team defense, making Southern Cal take contested shots, and then they get the rebound, and they're able to get into their transition offense.
Destiny Littleton, she has 5 points. Sissoko dishes it off. Short shot clock, 3 to work with. Littleton. This has been a fast-paced first quarter. 30 seconds left. Drew Gilton, guarded by Destiny Littleton, will take as much time as she can off the clock. Mishandles the ball, takes a tumble, and USC can really hold on for the last shot. They shoot with 10 and an offensive foul. So a possession where they could have held for the last second of the quarter. Now the Jackrabbits get it back with 10.6.
And they are dictating these last 5 minutes with their team defense.
USC has not had a field goal in the last 4 minutes of this quarter. Myah. Wraparound pass. 3 no good. Tries to send it back out. Not enough time to get a good look off. So that will do it for the first quarter. And fast would be an understatement to describe that one. However, Trojans with a 3-point lead over the Jacks. But another #1 seed that took care of business, hey, the Virginia Tech Hokies, who say we want to continue to dance here at the Castle. There's Elizabeth Kitley, who picked up her 20th double-double of the season. And for another #1 seed, Stanford, taking care of business against Sacred Heart, 45-26. They're at the half at this point. So out of the timeout. Not the look Lindsey Gottlieb wanted. She has 8 left on the shot clock. That one can't connect either. But old boards have been the name for the Trojans at this point. They have 5-0 boards.
I haven't really capitalized on them. A turnover here again. Their receiving average is 13. They've got 7 in the first quarter, and there's another one.
So 8 turnovers so far for the Trojans.
And that's what South Dakota State wants. That's how they don't want to set up their offense. They want to run transition offense, primary break, secondary. If they don't have to set up set plays, that's how they want to score. That's how they average 79 points a game.
USC desperate for a bucket here. They missed their last 7 field goals. Adika at the top of the key. That's tipped away.
See, and again, they want to throw over the top, but what USC has to do is get better passing angles. That was a terrible passing angle. You can't just throw it over the top every time. You got to pay attention to the little details. Get to 45 degrees if you want to go into the post.
And how important is it for even the wing guard to communicate? Next pass. 3 on the shot clock. And a travel before the expiration of the shot clock. So right now the Trojans a bit disheveled offensively.
Well, they had the advantage that first 4 minutes of the first quarter, and then after the timeouts, and South Dakota State settled down, started playing team defense, and started getting better opportunities on offense, better looks at the basket.
Trojans led 12-2 to start this game. Now the Jackrabbits on a 9-0 run, and you can count that bucket too. Haley Timmer gives the Jackrabbits their lead of this ball game. Sissoko tries to send it into Marshall. Marshall over about 4 players and still is able to draw the foul.
Just great defense here. You see lack of communication there on defense by USC. Staying behind the screens, and that's just a hustle play. You got to talk, and you got to get out on the shooters. You know that South Dakota State shoots very well from three-point range. You have to make the effort to get out there and contest that shot.
And that's just their first 3 of the ball game. They averaged 7 coming into this ball game. Marshall knocks down the first free throw. She's a 64% free throw shooter on the season. We talked about her 2 blocks earlier in the first quarter. Big reason why she's part of the All Pac-12 defensive team, as well as the All Pac-12 first team as well. And those were much needed points. Those were their first points in the last 6 minutes. But if they can't stop the Jackrabbits on this end, it's going to be a long night.
That was very key in the shoot-around this morning. Coach Johnson went over that. They knew they were going to get pressed. They needed to be patient, get the ball to the middle and over the second line, and then go to score. So you see here, just patient. You know the trap's coming. Get it to the middle, attack, and get an opportunity to score.
Haley Timmer also knew the scouting report. And you see Rhea Marshall underneath going for that pump fake as well. Marshall asks for the ball. A bit strong. Peyton Burkhardt showing us some point forward. Bringing the ball up the floor. Timmer, 1-2 Euro. And rims out. USC right now shooting 27% from the field. Started the game 5 for 10. And since have been 0 for 8. In the last 6 minutes, their only points have come from the free throw line, and that was just recently.
And Sissoko not able to score there. Only 2 points right now. Leading scorer.
Timmer off the bounce. 5 left for the Rabbits. Hesitation move and just a bit short on the layup.
Still patient though, even there down at the end of the shot clock, not panicking. And that is something that South Dakota State does so well. Their post players get off and they get around. They don't lean on the offensive player and get fouls. They really work to get off and get around.
Helen, I want to go back to what you were saying, just understanding who and where to get each player the ball for the Trojans. Drew Gilton at 5'10" is guarding right now Rhea Marshall at 6'4", who we saw dunk. You would think they would send it over a little bit, as you were saying.
Well, they're just, again, they know their personnel and they know when to help and how to help. They communicate really well on defense. And right now, they're only giving USC 1 opportunity.
Gage Meyer didn't like the look, so she's going to reset the offense. Nelson stripped from behind by Williams. And the nice look for Marshall trailing.
And that's the best offense for USC is off of their defense, causing steals, causing turnovers. But they don't have to set up. They can just go to the rack and attack.
So turning their defense into offense. Burkhardt sends it out.
See here, USC, they're doing a great job, South Dakota State, of getting off and getting around. And you see Ryan Marshall going, settle down, give me a better pass. But that's also halfway her fault because she had crocodile arms. And then you get the defensive steal here and the opportunity for the offensive transition. Much easier scoring, much easier basket for USC.
And that's why Lindsay Gottlieb's love Kayla Williams on the floor. It's because she gets you those type of looks in transition. That was tipped out of bounds by the Jackrabbits. And the Trojans will get the ball back underneath right after the break.
Field in the second quarter, Angel.
They have the 11th best scoring offense in the Pac-12 coming into this one. The only team under them was Washington. So as far as just getting both sides of the ball done, the Jackrabbits understood the assignment.
Yeah, unlike USC, and they've shot under 30% in 4 of their last 5 games. So again, just struggling on that end of the court.
Another short shot clock, as that's just stripped away at the top of the key by Peyton Burkhardt. That's the 10th turnover for the Trojans.
You will not really see a South Dakota State player just sort of take over the game. They do everything with the team, and they've subbed a lot. That's their normal thing. USC has had to sub a lot, but it's because of foul trouble and turnovers. They're trying to find a rhythm, trying to find a group to get some offensive rhythm.
Adika picks up her second personal foul. So the Trojans haven't scored in almost 9 minutes of play.
I asked Coach Gottlieb what they worked on since they didn't play since March the 1st, and one of the things she said was we just took a lot of shots because obviously they struggle on offense, and again here, not able to, again, 14% in that second quarter so far.
They had the 2 free throws, and then they had 1 bucket in this quarter.
Just a great block there by Kelly Tyson here. No foul at all ball there.
It looked like a jump ball.
Yeah, you're right, jump ball.
I'm not an official, so I'm just going to. So a foul. So Tyson picks up her first personal foul. And see, with this pace, a lot of different substitutions coming in on both sides of the floor. Talk about the scoring woes for USC. Just 1 field goal in the last 13 shot attempts. Looking to change that tune in this possession. Sissoko set the screen, was asking for the ball. Instead, they get a look from the corner. That one no good. And the jump ball on this side will send it back to the Trojans. So all of this that we've been saying about USC and them not being able to score, the score is 16-16.
I was just noticing that. They're very fortunate to be where they are right now, given all the stats you just gave us about them offensively.
Approaching the 3-minute mark in this half. This has flown by. Both teams, we've seen a strong defensive effort, a lot of contact there, and that one's not going to be a foul. It's actually going to be another turnover for the Trojans as Kade Sissoko actually steps on the line.
That's the 11th turnover for USC.
We're in Blacksburg, Virginia, where we had a sold-out crowd in the first game between the Chattanooga Mocs and Virginia Tech Hokies. It doesn't get much better than that bucket by Selland.
Just great offensive movement there. They are great at pace, people movement, ball movement until they get the matchup that they want.
4 points for Myah Selland. She's averaging about 16 points per game. She leads the team in scoring coming into this one. We talked about the balance attack from the Jackrabbits, as there's a foul at the top of the key that's going to go against South Dakota State.
Yeah, Selland there, just patient. Got her opportunity, got where she wanted to be to get the shot. Not playing against a shot blocker there.
Tori Nelson picks up her second personal foul. Littleton struggling from the floor, just 2 for 7. We knew it was going to be fast-paced. We knew there was going to be a lot of athleticism on both sides of the floor, but the physicality in this one, too, has been unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm just getting ready to say that. South Dakota State is a very physical team. USC can be physical at times, but they'd rather be more finesse on both ends of the court. Every time a player touches the ball, you can see Destiny Littleton, she is not getting an easy shot. They're able to convert, but she's got somebody touching her, touching the ball, making it really difficult for her.
7 points for Destiny. All right, coming up at halftime, it's Degree in the studio. Caitlin Clark, now Iowa and South Carolina cruise as Mississippi State making history. That was unbelievable, just seeing that ball game as well, keeping up with the scores. I feel like everyone should have every single device set up, all charged. Caitlin Clark doing Caitlin Clark things. My goodness.
That kid's incredible. She delivers every game.
Let's go ahead and go to the Mississippi State bracket. Able to get that look and the upset over Creighton and a decisive win, 81-66. They'll see Notre Dame, who had a very impressive win going in this tournament without 2 of their primary scorers, and Darren Mabry as well as Olivia Miles, that was ruled out for the entire tournament. Didn't play in the ACC tournament as well.
There's only 38 total points in this game right now.
And the Jackrabbits average about 80. There you go, Helen. 2 more for you. Myah Selland. 6 points for her on the night.
I mean, I guess if you're both teams, you're kind of happy, because if you're South Dakota State, you didn't start out very well, and if you're USC, you just sort of hung on till you get to the halftime.
USC shooting 25% from the field. Looking to get a bucket on this one. 8 seconds left and a turnover. 23 turnovers on the night, and that's just the first half. Top of the bucket. Myah Selland has entered the chat and gives South Dakota State a 3-point lead at the half. Helen, you wanted offense. Myah Selland said, I can deliver, and is able to knock down the second.
Be more patient and play basketball, so I think that's key for both teams. So that's going to go in Webster's dictionary next
I like
year.
it. Hey, or Williams' dictionary. That's fine with me, too.
It's the only word I can think of to describe what I think they need to do.
And that's fine. You run your race, Helen. USC, third lowest points in the first half this season. They had 16 and 17, respectively. Prior to this ball game, they are sitting at 20 as they're on defense first, and that look out of the gate by the Jackrabbits, no good. go back to the beginning of this ball game where the Trojans led 12-2 and South Dakota State outscored them 21-8 in the last 14 minutes of play to have the 3-point lead to end the half.
Well, the Trojans, they owned that first 5 minutes of the game, especially Rhea Marshall was getting the rebound here. But then after that, it was just South Dakota State settling down and playing their brand of basketball.
That's the look you want if you're Rhea Marshall right now. Has 6 points, 2 for 8 from the field, though, and you're looking at the height disparity. That's another thing. If you're comparing both sides, the length that the Trojans have over right now the Jackrabbits, but I think the difference is just the sense of urgency we saw in that second quarter.
Well, they have the length inside, but South Dakota State has the length with the guards. Their guards are 5'11", 6 feet, and they can cut, and then when they finish cutting, they can post up at the block, and that's an advantage for them.
You can tell right out of the gate that Lindsey Gottlieb wanted to get more touches on the inside to Rhea Marshall, 0 for 2 to start the half.
And Coach Gottlieb is just saying, just go ahead and go into your shot. You don't need to do all the extra movement.
Thanks for joining us in Blacksburg, Virginia. This is the Seattle Region 3. We have different looks in our brackets for this year. Linda Gray alongside Helen Williams. Always a pleasure working next to you, friend. Timmer to the bucket. Timmer for another 2.
Again, downhill. That's working for them against USC. USC not doing a good job of help defense there. And one of the things about South Dakota State is they move so well with pace that you have to react to every pass. You have to jump to the pass. You have to make sure you get in front of the dribbler. And if you don't, things like that are going to happen.
5 points for Timmer as the Trojans, desperate for a bucket, have yet to score in the third quarter. And it's just a little bit too much for Kayla Williams to bring in, so that's going to stick with the Jackrabbits.
Yeah, you see here, just able to get around Sissoko, and no help there from Marshall. I don't know if she thought she was going to get a foul.
Inside, Purdue, the number 1 seed, is taken down by Fairleigh Dickinson, 63-58. Not a good time for West Lafayette. Their women lost last night to St. John's by 2. Hey, but the Jackrabbits, they said, hey, we're in a good position right now as they have the 5-point lead at this point. Our statistician says roll tide. I know where your loyalty lies.
Sissoko has missed several shots right there at the basket. She's had good looks, just not converted.
So Sissoko, as you were talking about, is 1 for 8 from the field. She has 4 points, 2 of those coming, obviously, from the free throw line. And Selland close to getting an easy 2 on the other side.
The problem for USC is, who do you set up an offense for? I said Sissoko, but their set plays, with the exception of Destiny Littleton, is somebody that I think they could go to, but they don't really have that kind of offense.
You can't score without the ball, and they have 13 turnovers in this ball game so far. Right now, USC hungry for some points, shooting 22% from the field. Rhea Marshall continues to struggle from underneath after hitting the first bucket of this ball game, getting an and 1.
Yeah, I thought Marshall got fouled a little bit there, but the officials are letting them play, so they have to play through it.
Cal Bacon, Alicia Murray, and Zach Brost, the officials for tonight. The scoop shot no good underneath, and the rebound, that goes to Peyton Burkhard. Peyton Burkhard, that's her first bucket of the ball game. One of 4 players averaging double figures. This is also the largest lead for the Jackrabbits. Burkhard, this All-Summit League second team.
Just the offense for USC is just anemic. Just where do you go?
Sissoko, there it is.
Finally, they're able to get a great opportunity for her, and she converts.
Second field goal of the ball game. Just to revisit, we were talking about the offense for the Trojans at the bottom 10% of the field, 66th as far as field goal percentage. in the NCAA tournament. They're trying to turn things around in the second half. They were outscored 14-8 in the second quarter. Right now sitting at 2 points.
And you see South Dakota State coming over the double team. Marshall doing a good job of turning away from it, but not able to convert. And she's getting frustrated.
Myah does an incredible job turning the corner off that top screen.
And the problem is you can't help off the shooters, so if you get beat one-on-one, it's up to you. And they've been doing a great job of getting downhill because they know the defenders are not going to leave the shooters on the perimeter.
Paige Myah with the 9 points. Destiny Littleton averaging 14 points coming into this one, sitting at 7, and has seen a better look.
Yeah, just a great job here of getting beat. And you can't leave the shooters. Very bad communication for USC. Big discrepancy, and you talk about, why that might happen. I mentioned earlier in the broadcast about how your defense comes along a lot quicker than your offense. And USC has several transfers, and it's very difficult to find chemistry offensively with transfers. Much easier to find it on defense, and they've really struggled. That's a low number for a full season in terms of the amount of makes that you've made.
Coming into this ball game, South Dakota State actually averaging 14 more points than the Trojans on the season. Trojans about 64 points per game, as that's blocked by Rhea Marshall. That's her third block of the ball game, and it's going to be a foul as well. So don't want to cut her short there. That's her fourth block of the ball game.
Yeah, just those long arms and the good hustle there, even though she had to go out of bounds.
Rhea Marshall with the gentle reminder that most people shouldn't shoot over her. You mentioned just off the top, just the contrast that we've seen in the style of play as Sissoko. Beautiful textbook pump fake and gets the deuce.
And you see USC now putting on the press, trying to generate some more offense. Those long arms in the passing lane.
8 points for Caddy Sissoko. Out of bounds, turnover for the Jackrabbits.
Finally, Sissoko able to get an opportunity, got Selland up in the air and able to get the layup there. It's a nice little pump fake.
Helen, you know what I noticed in that possession too? It wasn't sped up.
It was in motion, in the offense, good pace, and they took advantage of the mismatch there with Sissoko.
So that's a 6-second chance point for the Trojans. They had 8 or 9 offensive rebounds, and that's what we've been trying to figure out as far as this difference right now. They haven't really converted second chance opportunities.
Second chance opportunities or points off turnovers.
So we talked about the Wolves once again. USC only down 3 points. Well, the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship first round continues tonight on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. For more information on tournament game times and networks, go to ncaa.com.
Well, your point is well taken. If I'm the coach of either team, I'm not unhappy. If you're USC, you're lucky to be in this game. And if you're South Dakota State, you took a punch early in the first quarter, but you were able to fight your way back.
Rokia Doumbia wanted a little bit of an explanation after she was charged with that foul. That's going to be her first personal.
When you see South Dakota State run a play, it's because they see a mismatch somewhere and they want to try to exploit it.
O-board for the Jackrabbits. Paige Myah. She needs to copyright that one.
Well, again, downhill, they can't leave the shooters, and they're not communicating on that screen on the ball.
The hands of Timmer, Haley Timmer, to bounce that off of Destiny Littleton's foot.
I mean, if I'm South Dakota State, I'm just going to keep running that play until they stop it.
Some inadvertent contact by Littleton to Nelson. You saw her take a little bit of contact to the face. She'll check out of the ball game. So we talked about the contrasting styles, offense, defense, but even too how the makeup of both rosters. USC brought in 7 transfers, only 4 players, actually 6 players returned for the Trojans. Lindsey Gottlieb talked about how she had to reset this program after last year, only winning 5 Pac-12 games. She said, we were sitting at home last year, we're able to play in it this year. As Rhea Marshall said, you know what? I'm just going to step out a little bit and see if I can knock this one down.
I think she surprised everybody.
That's just her second 3 of the season. Rhea Marshall saying, I got trail, seeing if she can get it back. She tries again. Too hard. Selland pretty much left alone. She's going to go all the way on the inside and gets the and one against Rhea Marshall. Myah Selland, make way. 11 points for Myah Selland.
Yeah, everything's to the right, and they are just going downhill, and no one from USC is stopping them from driving right. From that same area, that elbow.
So Myah Selland stepped up to the free throw line. She's a senior out of Letcher, South Dakota. Her older sister Shelby is actually their Dobo as well. They have a barn on their farm in Letcher. But what's a barn without a basketball court on the second floor?
Well, in South Dakota, you got to have a place to shoot. Can't do it outside in the winter.
And she brought that up a couple of times throughout a feature that we were able to see. Less than a minute here in the third quarter. And South Dakota State has a 34-29 lead over the Trojans. Haley Timmer doesn't like the look, sends it out. Paige Meyer sends it up top. Trojans have 22 seconds to work with. And the and one goes to Rhea Marshall.
Southern Cal is doing just enough not to let South Dakota State run away with this game. And Marshall's been a big part of that. Nice move there.
She's shown her diversity.
Yeah, she's going to be really good when she figures it out.
Just a sophomore out of Los Angeles, California, from South Central. She has a block in 50 straight games. Couldn't connect. Has struggled from the free throw line in this ball game. South Dakota State can hold for the last shot of this quarter. And that's tipped away by none other than Rhea Marshall. She's going to take it herself. Gets the Euro finger roll just short. And that'll do it for the third quarter. USC with a better performance in that third quarter, 11 points. That ties up.
Enjoyed this weather. They've been out in their shorts and sweatshirts. They don't have to put on a coat to come outside. They're happy with it. Having little picnics outside.
Ran into a couple of fans. They said, we don't mind staying a couple more days. I think they were leaving, at this point, a blizzard. He said the amount of snow that they had before they left was unbelievable, that they actually had to close down school.
Which is saying a lot in South Dakota. Both teams want to come out of here with set plays to try to get some offense. Just a great defense there. You cannot make long, floaty passes against USC because they are too fast and too long.
1 point lead for the Jackrabbits. And on both ends of the floor, it's been Rhea Marshall really setting the tone in the second half. I mean, she has 96 blocks this season, all-time single-season leader. So she passes Lisa Leslie. That says a lot.
That's some good company there. And this pass right here is way too long. You can see Domba come in there in the passing lane, able to get the layup again. Offense from their defense. You got to make short, crisp passes against their pressure. And you got to keep coming until you catch the basketball.
All the way to the bucket, can't quite connect. On the cleanup, Tyson tried to get something, and there's going to be a foul that's assessed. We'll see on who. And it looks like it's going to go against Rhea Marshall. That's going to be her second. Just short. Well, fans, high demand. Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi are headed to Dallas and bringing their insight, experience, and humor with them. The Bird and Taurasi show at the Women's Final Four, Friday, March 31st and Sunday, April 2nd, live on ESPN2 and ESPN+.
Must-see TV.
Another block. That's her 6th of the ball game. Rhea Marshall. Block call. Destiny Littleton trying to work her way on the inside.
I've got to give USC some credit here because they've just really struggled on offense, but somehow they've been able to keep themselves in this game.
Marshall slow to get up. You saw the contact she took under the basket. Seems to be okay now. Doumbia trying to see if she can connect as well. Another block call. How about that one?
I don't think Coach Johnson liked that. It's hard for us to see the replay.
After a dismal offensive effort in the first half, the Trojans regain the lead. But this one, I would say, Coach Johnson definitely has a point.
He has an argument there. But again, they stuck with it, their defense, and blocked shots. And with all the misses, they've got a 1 point lead.
Rhea Marshall had 6 points at the half. Now she's sitting at 13. And what's been interesting, too, is that she's been able to mix it up. We saw her in the first half with more of the back to the basket. Now she's getting the ball in that mid-range area, and that's why.
She has the ability to score 15 feet out. Obviously, she shot 2 threes this year, but that really struggles, and their defense now is causing South Dakota State to call a timeout.
So Aaron Johnston trying to see if he can regain his composure with this team at this. But on the other side for USC, they are on an 8-0 run after a dismal first half. A big part of that is because of Rhea Marshall.
Yeah, started off the first quarter and this fourth quarter with blocks. And I thought you said it was a gentle reminder, but they obviously aren't listening to you, Angel.
I don't know what to say. Passes Lisa Leslie in blocks. South Dakota State just down 3. It's been a game that's gone back and forth. A couple of things we've seen from them as well. They haven't scored in the fourth quarter to this point. And for the Trojans, they just seem to have found who they need to get the ball to, and it's Rhea Marshall, and it's all over the floor.
Yeah, and they've ramped up their defense. They're very long and they're very quick, and so you have to make short, crisp passes against them. And South Dakota State's really been struggling to do that here this fourth quarter.
Connects for Callie Tyson. I think about this team being a squad that was in the WNIT and winning the championship game as well, and what that meant for them and how they wanted to be back on this stage. 4 players that are averaging double figures. A team that we saw just the hustle on both ends of the floor. But the primary thing from both coaches is what they were saying. We know what we're good at. It's how we do it for 40 minutes.
And at this point in the season, you don't make a whole lot of changes to who you are.
Connects. Taylor Bigby knocks down her 23rd three-pointer of the season.
USC, their calling card is their defense, and they've been able to turn South Dakota State over here and get them a little riled offensively with this press.
So Paige Meyer checks out of the ball game. Drew Gilton checks in.
A little bit bigger guard maybe to see over the defense of USC.
So not to look offensively. Lindsey Gottlieb was looking for her squad. South Dakota State haven't had a field goal in the last 6 minutes. That'll do it. Tori Nelson able to turn the corner and break that drought.
USC has these moments where they do really good things offensively and then they just make bad decisions. The last two, they're up and down these last 2 possessions. Start playing well, getting some offensive rhythm from your defense, and then you make bad decisions on offense in the half court.
It's been a bit of a seesaw throughout this ball game for both sides, especially when taking care of the ball. South Dakota State has 17 turnovers. Trojans not too much better with 16. Destiny Littleton picks up her 2nd personal foul. Myah Selland trying to work against Sissoko.
They do a really good job of isolating her and running plays for her and out of bounds.
She has 14 points, just shy of her season average. And a jump ball after a very interesting series from both sides. You could see there was not a point where anyone really had control of the ball, and so that's going to end in a jump ball. It's going to go to the Jackrabbits.
Well, one of these teams has to figure it out and get in the rhythm, but their defense for both is so good, it's very difficult.
Another turnover for South Dakota State. 5 ties, 4 lead changes. We're locked at 40 with less than 5 minutes to play in this one.
And South Dakota State, half of what they normally average offensively, only 40 points today so far.
Marshall. Haley Timmer slows things down a bit. Took a little contact at the top of the key and no foul was called. Selland gets the ball, gets the bucket, and Marshall probably took some contact underneath as well. She's holding her jaw.
She's looking at the official to make a call, but I think it was just inadvertent contact there by Selland.
What a tough leader of this program. Myah Selland, the senior out of Letcher, South Dakota. the two-time Summit League Player of the Year, right now with 16 points, is giving her team the lead. Four to work with for the Trojans. Look on the inside. Sissoko was left all alone. And we're tied at 42.
Well, very fortunate there, because at that possession, it didn't look like anybody knew what they were looking for offensively.
Timmer from distance. Just short. And we'll have a timeout that's going to go against the Trojans. So they'll step aside. We'll do the same. Actually, we're going to stay. Why not stay? So 2 players in double figures for both sides. Myah Selland, who is the high scorer for South Dakota State with 16. She also is 1 rebound shy of a double-double. And how about Marshall? Graham Marshall for the Trojans. He's flirting with a triple-double at this point. 15 points, 9 rebounds, and she has 5 blocks. A lot of contact underneath. Sissoko is going to be called for that one.
You have to move with every pass on defense against South Dakota State. They are so good at pace, ball movement, people movement. If you're just 1 second late, you end up with a foul.
So that's going to be her third. Kayla Williams will take a seat. Selland gets the first. Well, the NCAA Women's Championship continues tonight with first-round games and continues through Sunday, April 2nd, when we crown a champion. Every game is on the ESPN family of networks. For more information, go to ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships.
And just a 10th free throw there for South Dakota State. They averaged 16 a game, so well below that in this contest.
Sissoko regains control of the ball. Can't connect over the top. The cleanup no good by Marshall. And with 18 on the shot clock, the Trojans will get it back.
So defensive substitution here. South Dakota State putting in Tyson for Burkhardt.
So officials just trying to make sure everything is set on the shot clock. As they have 20 there, 2:16 left in this ball game. Littleton. And that's stripped away by Paige Myah. Just mishandles it. So the Trojans will get it back. Myah Selland, we talk about the different balanced players that they have coming on in this roster. They have 28 of their 43 points.
They're a team that whoever you can't just focus on one player, and that's what makes them so good in their offense. Why they're able to score almost 80 points a game is everybody contributes in a different way depending on what the offense and the matchups are.
So we talked about Selland on the other side as far as what she's been able to do offensively, but the defensive effort we've seen from her, especially with an assignment for Caddy Sissoko, the 6'2" senior, that's been a matchup that you got to appreciate.
Yeah, and I think her defense is underrated for sure.
Selland gets the ball, takes a power dribble, and drives that one in. Leads the team in points per game, and that has not faltered in this one. Selland has 19 points. And a block is called on the other end on Selland.
This is what I mean by you have to move with every pass here. You see the defenders late there on Selland as she cuts across the block. You cannot relax on any pass against the offense of South Dakota State.
We mentioned it. Tied 6 times, 5 lead changes. That bounced all parts of the rim, and not the part that counts. As South Dakota State is up 3 with less than a minute in this one.
And that's a great timeout by Coach Johnson. Last time Paige Myah came out, they had a turnover in transition. He wants to set something up. He sees a matchup. He wants to set a play out of the timeout.
Trojans, on the other hand, in the dance for the first time since 2014. 7 transfers on the roster. And them trying to build this program with a lot of hype coming in even after next season. Judy Watkins coming in as a signee. Close to a steal at the top of the key. A lot of time to work with for the Jackrabbits.
And they were trying to set a flare screen for Selland, and ball got away from Myah.
Selland off the glass and just out. A lot of contact. A jump ball is going to be called. That's going to the Trojans.
And South Dakota State saying they called for a timeout. From Destiny Littleton, but you want to take the first best shot available, and then you go from there.
Tonight they are 4 for 17 from deep. So using a lot of the clock. Numbia tried to see if she can get something at the rim. No call there, but it will stay with USC. They're actually going to go to the table with the monitor because you can review this play for sure.
It's so tough. I mean, you have to have indisputable evidence to overturn it, so I guess they did not.
South Dakota State still with a 3-point lead. Trojans, do they look for the 3 now? They launch it just short. They get the O board. They still have time to work with. Littleton gets the ball to go.
That's a player who has won a national championship, who understands what it takes to perform under pressure.
How big was the...
back cuts and then the extra pass out. 7 seconds for South Dakota State is a very long time.
And the next foul on them actually puts them at the free throw line for 2. Selland with the ball. 2 seconds left. That's tipped. That's out of bounds, and that's going to be the ball game. So 45 all.
Let's play some more. She's got 12 rebounds and 7 blocks.
So the Trojans are 2-2 in overtime. For South Dakota State, this is their first look at overtime play this season, as that one's tipped behind by Rhea Marshall. Rhea Marshall with 7 blocks. None bigger than that last one on Selland. Top of the key. Adika couldn't get that one to fall. Shooting about 41% from the three-point line. You could tell when she came into the ball game, that's what she was going to provide for this team. Myah Selland tries to reverse, is able to draw the foul. She'll get 2 free throws.
She is relentless in her aggressiveness to try to get to the basket. But she creates so many problems when they get the basketball to her. She can stretch the floor, but you got to pay attention to her three-point ability, and then she can drive to the basket.
So Caddy Sissoko actually picks up her 4th personal foul. Selland gets her 20th point. She now has 9 games with 20 or more points on this season.
And an 84% free throw shooter. She's pretty much money when she gets there. So again, this feels like a heavyweight bout. You can't have a split decision, though. Somebody has to win. It's going to come down to a couple of tight plays. And plays like that on defense. Great team defense by South Dakota State.
Smart defensively, hands straight in the air. We mentioned how they're the best in the Summit League. Not just in scoring, but on the defensive end as well. That one almost tipped away. Selland gets the ball back, is able to get the and one. How about that?
So they've decided that it's a great matchup to get Selland in the post after she sets a screen. They've gone to that several times. They cannot guard her in the post.
And Caddy Sissoko actually fouls out of this ball game. Both sides will get a little bit of time for the substitution. Taylor Bigby is at the scores table to see if she can check in.
Yeah, just a great job here of driving to the basket. And this was after she set a screen. She continues to work with every pass and is just relentless to get to the basket.
I think relentless is a great word when you're mentioning Myah Selland.
Just look at her footwork there and her stick-to-itiveness in the post every time the ball's passed. She works really hard when she gets there on the block.
And has the wherewithal to have the pump fake as well. Sissoko on the bench now. As South Dakota State has the 5-point lead here in overtime. Destiny Littleton sends it up top. That's launched, and that's a bit short.
And they settled for that. There was no ball, no people movement there.
You can't say it enough how well this team moves the ball. Led the league in assists as well, as that's another foul. And South Dakota State in the bonus.
Again, they've decided that the defender cannot handle Selland. Just doing a great job of moving without the basketball. They know they're looking for her. They're just being patient, letting her do her work till she gets to the spot where she shows them the numbers and they give her the basketball.
I mean, does a little bit of everything. Not just on the floor, but off the floor as well. You can see her shooting 80% from the free throw line, but also giving back to the community. Started a nonprofit organization with Tori Nelson called Her Turn. And that's just giving back to the youth so they can too have these moments like playing in the big dance and inspiring the next. Littleton still patting the rock at the top of the key. Marshall gets the ball, and that's pretty easy.
You want to guess who the ball's going to go to this time down the floor?
If it's not Selland, we have a problem. Selland gets the ball back on the baseline. This time she's guarded by Adika.
See, this is a mismatch on the perimeter. When she needs to get to the inside, they switch, and it still can't guard her.
Myah Selland, welcome to the big dance. The two-time Summit League Player of the Year now has 28 points. And that's coughed up by the Trojans. Approaching the 90-second mark here in overtime. Timmer working baseline, sends it back. 4 on the shot clock for the Jackrabbits. Timmer. And another turnover. That is the 20th turnover for the Trojans. And a foul at the top of the key with less than a minute to play. That'll send the Jackrabbits back to the free throw line.
Selland has every point for South Dakota State here in this overtime. They have just taken over. They cannot stop her. Inside, outside, driving, getting to the free throw line. This was a textbook overtime in terms of coaching for Coach Johnson and getting the right matchups. Going to Selland on every possession. These 2 free throws are the only 2 points that she has not scored in the overtime.
So Paige Mayer is able to knock down the free throw, gives them the 56-47 lead. They've outscored the Trojans. As we have some more stoppage of play. Just waiting on the whistle. Make sure everyone's set. And a foul is going to be called. This one should actually send the Trojans to the free throw line as they're now in the bonus.
Great camera work there by our crew.
And she drains that one. Sophomore out of Las Vegas, majoring in business. Actually started as a cheerleader and found her way on the basketball side, saying, I can see a future for myself here. Trying to see if they could go after the steal first. And doesn't want too much time to go off the clock, so commits the foul.
Now that's going to be the strategy here for USC. The problem for them is that South Dakota State shoots really well from the free throw line.
Drains that one. Akia Doumbia gets the foul there. That's her 4th. Is Myah Selland just short of tying her career high. Destiny.
She didn't do a whole lot in the regular time, but she's come through here at the end of the game, and that's what you would expect from a champion.
It really comes down to the free throws, as you were alluding to, but it's just a 2-possession game as Destiny able to knock down the long-distance 3. Paige Meyer will step up to the free throw line. This sophomore out of Albany, Minnesota.
You have to make sure, if you're USC, if this is a missed shot, that you get the defensive rebound.
And drains the second. South Dakota State has shot 81% from the free throw line in this ball game. On the other side for the Trojans, they've only shot everyone can really knock it down.
USC look for some staggered screens for Littleton there.
Littleton launches it again. Can't connect on this one. Another board. Marshall with the finger roll. This one's going to be called a block. So 2 free throws coming. I wanted the contact there. Thoughts?
I'm not an official. That's my thought. I thought she was there, but the question is, does she need room to come down? That's a big part of it too. So
Rhea Marshall has struggled from the free throw line in this ball game. Just 3 for 10. Actually, they're just 2 for 7. 2 for 8 now. And that one sails out of bounds, but the Trojans will get that one back.
So they're going to look at this one.
So we couldn't hear Kyle Bacon for the report, but we see that they've concluded. Destiny Littleton. That's blocked. Actually, there's a foul called. Tori Nelson in disbelief. And Destiny Littleton, who shoots 88% from the free throw line, will get her opportunity for 3 here.
I guess they're going to say they got her on the hand. This is a great angle here.
And this will be the first trip to the free throw line for Destiny Littleton in this ball game. Wow.
So they were checking to make sure she was behind the line, give her 3 shots. And they also reset the clock.
Drains the first. Destiny Littleton, just such an inspiring story for her. Has taken round robin around the league. Texas started, USC. Was interested when Cynthia Cooper was with the Trojans, and then decided that she wanted to finish out her career with Lindsey Gottlieb. Was able to knock down all 3. And South Dakota State will advance the ball with 1. Tyson, Timber Nelson, Myah, and Selland on the floor for South Dakota State. The lowest free throw shooting percentage for this team is at 73%.
Oh, they got a turnover.
But you can see how that one is one you would want back for the Jackrabbits.
Yeah, just mishandled the inbounds pass there.
That's a scary area to be in. Another defender on that sideline and a costly turnover.
So plenty of time here just to get off a good shot.
That one sent out of bounds. Tyson able to break that one up. 17.8 left on the game clock.
You've got Littleton taking the ball out here. Watch for her getting the ball back.
Adika sends it to Littleton. Littleton can't come down with the 3 or the foul, and so this one is going to go to the Jackrabbits, who get fouled. Nelson should step up to the free throw line. Did they get the look they wanted?
It wasn't a clean look. And you knew they were going to have to take the 3.
Nelson drains it. It's a big free throw, makes it a 2-possession ball game. 19 for 24 from the free throw line. That's where games are won. And she drains both.
And in their big wins, they average taking 23 free throws, so they're right there at their average.
Shooting 80% from the free throw line. Littleton, they'll let her get all the way to the rim. 1.9 left. And there is a timeout for Aaron Johnston, who wants to advance to make sure they can get the ball in with 1.9 left.
Well, and that's a smart timeout. So oftentimes in these situations, you'll see a back screen, somebody going towards the basket. We'll see what South Dakota State does.
While the horn blows for the game, the officials will say there was still time left on the clock. A foul was actually called. So they'll get free throws, and you can see them patting Trojans in their last season. As you can see the hugs that are given, 6 seniors on this roster. Patty Sissoko, one of them.
Well, USC in good hands with Coach Lindsey Gottlieb. She's got a great core there, got a great recruiting class coming in, got them back to the NCAA tournament.
And that'll do it. 22-game winning streak for the Jackrabbits. And that's the first time we've seen Aaron Johnston smile in the last 3 days.